Success is a game of choice where you control the odds by your enthusiasm, perseverance, and drive. My friends, let's jump into these charts and see where things are going. We ended the week with everything down except Bitcoin. And of course, the two trades that we are in, that is 20-year U.S. government bonds and gold, are both short trades. Those are our practice trades for the week. And of course, we are paying close attention as to what is going on with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. As we end the week, we can see on the two-day chart where we have a red spinning top. We still have a green candle here on the weekly, but we see that the two-day really, the half-day really accelerated down on Friday. Started there on Thursday, then really accelerated down hard, getting close. Maybe by Monday it could be crossing over that weekly trend line, going down 1.28%. So as we get into the course of this next week, we will be paying close attention as to what continues to go on with stocks. We talked about the Trump effect, where things really rocketed up last Wednesday, the day after the election, and moved up all the way until this past week. That is the week beginning the 11th of November. And I know I'm getting into the next week now, starting on, I guess, the 18th. But what we saw happen over the course of the week beginning the 11th of November was peaked on Monday morning, and then we saw things starting to degrade and really accelerating down by Friday. Of course, we were waiting to see if indeed would the Trump bump stick, or would it just sort of meander out and then roll back over. Right now, as we end the week, it looks like it's trying to roll over. We haven't crossed the trend line yet. It could turn things around over the course of this next week. Don't really know. We look at what the high was on the week beginning the 4th of November. I always like to check out what highs are. 599.64 this week, 617. So it did go a little bit higher. And again, that all happened when? On Monday. So we'll keep an eye on things as this new week starts. Now, what do we see going on with the NASDAQ 100? The high the week beginning the 4th of November was 514.92. 515.58 was the high on the week beginning the 11th of November. We have a red spinning top on the two-day chart. Lots of volume there. So again, same thing on the NASDAQ, but we actually saw it start moving up decently on Tuesday, then shot up on Wednesday, Thursday, and then we saw it sort of leveling out on Friday, bumped up to its high on Monday in the morning, and then started rolling over. And of course, really started moving down on Thursday the 14th, and then Friday the 15th, really hammering down 2.38%. And look at that, on Friday afternoon, the half-day chart pierced the weekly trend line. So we will keep an eye on things. We may find ourselves at the end of next week going short on the S&P and or the NASDAQ 100 on our practice trade. So where are we short? We're short on 20-year U.S. government bonds. We have been for many weeks now. We sold our first half of the trade after we hit that one-time ATR. That's the reason we track the ATR on the two-day chart. We use the two-day chart to help us set our profit and loss bands. And of course, we use the little widget here called the long or short position. We use the short position in order to set our profit and loss bands. And then what do we do after we hit one-time ATR on profit? We turn around and we sell half of the trade. We let the other half ride. Why? We want to minimize our losses by getting out at one-time ATR to the negative, and we want to maximize our gains, letting them run. And that's just one method that we found that works. Now you might say, Tom, how in the hell are you making money in your practice trades when the ETF's going down? Well, that's because we are not trading TLT. Now this is what we track just to keep it simple. We're trading TBF, Tango Bravo Foxtrot. That is a single short of 20-year U.S. government bonds. And lo and behold, look at it. Now you see the price is different. It's not the price that we're looking at, it's the percentage change. And the way these inverse funds are set up, derivatives are used by the people who manage these funds to have the fund go up the exact percentage that the underlying ETF it tracks goes down, or the opposite. So when you see red on an inverse fund, that means that the underlying fund, in this it would be TLT, is going up because the inverse is going down. We have a great training. Let me move this. I just saw we had an old line here. We'll move this over here. But we have a great training. In fact, I'll put it again. I'll share it with you again. I'll put it at the end of today's video. You can watch it over the weekend. Inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash. Well, we have been successfully trading TLT as it has crashed in the last several weeks, and it continues to go down. Not down a lot for the day, 0.27%. The low on the week beginning the 4th of November was 89.55. This week, 89.51. So it went a little bit lower. It's sort of hard to tell here. That's the reason that, again, you just eyeballing it, it's the reason I use the numbers that are set up here. Open, high, low, close. That's what those things mean. And when you line them up, it shows you on whichever chart you are focused on. Very helpful. And look at all the volume over the last 2 weeks. Now, again, another little reminder, when you see a green volume, it doesn't mean that there's buying volume. The red doesn't mean selling volume. Green means that the new candle opened higher than the prior close. Red means the new candle opened lower than the prior close. That's all that means. So always keep that in mind. That's where we are with bonds. Let's go to gold. We're negative on gold too, my friends. Why are we negative on gold? Well, we're negative on gold because it rolled over. Classic rollover. What is that? What do I mean by that? We saw an interim high with average or above average volume. Then we saw what we consider to be the telltale sign, a decent sized spinning top. It was almost a doji, but again, we want a spinning top without a whole bunch of volatility. I want to see some line, that is super long, showing crazy volatility. I do want to see a line on top, a line on the bottom. That is a wick on top, wick on the bottom, and a candle the opposite of the prior high. This would be a red candle as opposed to a green. When we see things switching over and going up, of course, we want it to be a green rather than a red. And once we see that telltale sign with the average or above average volume, time after time after time after time, on a chart that we have tracked and found that, again, it is a tradable chart. It is something where accurately you can see changes from red to green, green to red on the weekly chart. You will find that this is just typically a great setup for going short. The opposite, great setup for going long. So what did we do? Of course, we jumped into, at the end of last week, we jumped into put trades on gold in our practice trades. You might say, well, Thom, why didn't you just told us about these inverse funds. Why didn't you do an inverse fund? Well, the problem is when it comes to inverse funds in gold, there is one, I believe it's DGZ, if I remember correctly. That is the short in gold. Now, here's the problem. Check out over here what the buy and sell is. Look at that. The difference between the buy and sell, 735 versus 875. That is $1.50. Right at maybe, well, not quite $1.50. That's crazy. That's crazy with a $7.35 fund. Who wants to take that kind of loss? If you buy, you're always going to remember there's between the bid and the ask. The one that's higher is what you buy at. The one that's lower is what you sell at. So the minute you buy, you have to buy at $8.75. And guess what? The minute you enter the trade, you have to sell it for $1.50 loss if you wanted to get out immediately. Well, who the hell is going to do that? I'm not. I'm never going to buy anything that is that illiquid. That's what illiquidity is. It's like You buy a car, the minute you buy a brand new car, you drive it off the lot, what do you know? It goes down thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, this on a $8.75 ETF, it literally goes down to $7.35 immediately. I'm not buying that. So what do? How do we go short? Well, we go short on gold by buying puts. Those are options. How do you do that? Well, we've got a great training. If you will support us and become a Patreon member, you'll immediately be emailed the minute you sign up. At any of the 3 levels of support, you will receive Options Made Simple the Charting Wealth Way, and then you can start practice trading options. We have all sorts of great advice there for you to practice trade with, to learn options. So if you're interested, consider that. That's what we did with gold. And of course, that has been moving in the right direction and did today for us. Look at that. We have 8 days of strong down movement. That is beautiful. You can see it on that 2-day chart. Look at all the volume. Gold just pounding down. Great. Let's move on to Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin up to? It was up again, 4.62%. But of course, Bitcoin hit its high on Wednesday morning. Since then, has been devolving a little bit. Did pop up in the afternoon on Friday. That gave it the 4.62%. It was a high volume, high, beautiful price week for Bitcoin. Look at the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart. How high did Bitcoin go? $93,483. Incredible. Bitcoin started its climb back on the week beginning the 14th of October, this latest climb, and it has gone into the 5th week where after Trump, it took off. If we look at the Bitcoin ETF, of course, you can see where the initial Trump bump was Wednesday morning, the 6th. And then it just sort of, it moved up a little more through Friday, but then on Monday, it soared and kept moving up through Wednesday morning. And then that's when it started blowing off some of that steam. So a crazy record high week with decent volume for Bitcoin and crazy price movement. That is where we are, folks, as we end the day, the week, and we get ready to jump into a new week. God bless you, my friends. Thanks for being with us. Always love to hear from you. If questions, problems, concerns, reach out to us, cw@chartingwealth.com. Become a Patreon supporter. Support what we do here for free for you every day. All the best. Take care from the whole team at Charting Wealth.